Hello, welcome back to the Kayfabe Brigade. This is our wrap-up episode on the G1 Climax 30. We're going to highlight two of the higher-rated shows of the final half of the competition, and then we'll talk about the final match as well.
So the first night we were covering, both shows that we were covering are A-Block. These were the most critically acclaimed shows, and they take place in periods of points of the G1 where you can sort of get an overview of like sort of catching up to like where everyone's at. They're spaced out in that way so we can still sort of get the full story. So we opened with Jeff Cobb versus Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah, another Bulldog versus Bulldog match.
Yeah, I said two beef boys.
Two beef boys, accurate.
Yeah, at this point, neither of these guys were going to win. They're both sort of the underdogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeff Cobb was entering at 4, and Ishii was entering at 6.
Yeah.
They're presumably, at that point they're pretty much mathematically eliminated. So this was more of just like having a classically good G1 opener for the card, and it definitely was that.
Awesome.
Jeff Cobb is showing a lot of cockiness in this match. That does not work with Ishii. That never works with Ishii.
He's not gonna have that.
So he ends up taking advantage early with a Saito suplex that just catches Cobb completely off guard.
Yeah, and so they're interesting. They were talking on the commentary about how Ishii can get lower when going for a suplex because of the sumo influence on Japanese pro wrestling.
Yeah,
which I hadn't heard them mention that before. I thought that was interesting.
You can definitely tell in his movements too. Just like how he arches and stuff. When
just even how he carries himself.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a little sumo guy. You think of sumo wrestlers being gigantic, but they're not all actually huge. But yeah, he's a little tank.
Some stiff shots. Ishii stiffing Cobb with forearms. He sells it like a knockout. I thought that was great.
So I wrote the same thing. It was like he actually sold it to like a temporary knockout where he was just out for a few seconds.
This has pretty much been the story for the whole G1 for Cobb. He's just so powerful. He's tossing Ishii around like it's honestly kind of insane. Belly to bellies and just throwing him around the arena like clear across the ring.
Suplex City.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, he did all the way across the ring, almost into the corner.
As has been a common occurrence in Ishii matches this G1, Ishii just at one point just battering rams Cobb with a headbutt. It was so nasty it's not even funny. At that point, both guys are selling knockouts. There's just so many lariats.
From a Cobb headbutt.
Yes.
Yeah. He had his own. It was pretty nasty.
Yeah. And
Ishii sold that as a knockout. I love that return back to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a lot of story in this match. Just two dudes just beating the hell out of each other, which is sort of what you want from two guys like this.
Yeah, they would trade suplexes, trade lariats, trading strikes, trading holds. There was constant one-upsmanship.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Great opener.
And I don't usually feel like Ishii does as many suplexes as he does. Usually more of the striker.
Striking, yeah.
Also, one thing I wanted to notice, this was maybe the only G1 match with these kinds of headbutts. Most of the headbutts that I see, they don't seem very worked. It's two people's heads, temples being pressed together.
Just light enough that you're not hurting, but it still looks bad.
But in this match, I noticed they were slamming their heads into there.
Yeah, and so they can make it a lot harder. It's just BAM!
It's safer, but also at the same time louder, more impactful.
It looks nastier.
It does, either way.
Even though it's just it's very obvious you're just taking it on the chest. But.
Yeah. So the finishing sequence was a brutal back and forth. By the end of it, Jeff Cobb gets a pop-up powerbomb and a pop-up tour of the islands, and Cobb wins this match. Yeah. So next we move on to Jey White versus Yujiro.
We almost didn't watch it, and then I happened to notice that it was 3.5 minutes long, so I was like, all right, let's go ahead and watch it, because we were just about done with Yujiro. It ended up being really good. So.
Yeah. I would actually say it turns out, with both these nights, the Yujiro match kind of goes above and beyond.
Right.
So... Obviously, the story in this match is that
it's all story.
Yeah, which was great. These guys are both in Bullet Club.
Yeah.
They've been telling the story of there being dissent between Jey White and Evil and their different sects of Bullet Club. Jey White comes out, he's not even in ring gear.
He's it's not like he just expects what he's about to ask Yujiro to do. It's for him, it's a foregone conclusion. I don't even need to wear my gear.
Yeah. The commentary starts speculating, what's going on? Did he get paid off? Did they already come for a deal? Is this going to be a finger poke of doom situation?
Yeah.
Kevin Kelly in particular was really upset.
Yeah. See, this just sucks.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Which he never says stuff like that.
Yeah. They all do the too sweet. Yeah. Yujiro lays down for him. Jey White's milking it. He keeps covering him for one.
Yeah, I'm not going to take this cover I know is happening.
Yeah. He's so confident that he can just sort of like play around with it. Like, oh no, kick out one. It's like 3 times or something. Yeah. But then Yujiro actually kicks out.
Then he kicks out.
He does this twice because then he plays it off like he's playing a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Jay White just gets so pissed because then Yujiro starts rolling him up, and then it's a full-on match.
Yeah, he's actually trying to pin him, which Jade obviously did not expect.
Yeah, he's hitting him with Olympic slams. Yujiro gets a low blow off on him. He's kind of just handling Jay White for a little bit, but it was all just a ploy because Jay White just hits the Blade Runner and wins. Yeah. It's still an easy match for him, but it actually offered some drama. The crowd started being like, "Oh my God, Yujiro could win this."
Yeah, like what's going on? It was good storytelling. I liked it. I'm glad we didn't skip over it. It was a lot of storytelling actually packed into 3 minutes and 42 seconds.
Yeah.
So.
And then of course the ending, the post match was really interesting. Jay White grabs a chair and he's about to attack Yujiro after the match, and Gato is the one who steps in.
Yeah.
And Gato and Jay White have been like this since Gato brought him in, and seeing them have issues.
Yeah, I mean they course corrected pretty quickly, but it was there for a second.
They're not going to do something like that unless it's going to lead somewhere at some point.
Right.
So the next match was Taichi versus Will Osprey. Osprey was a complete ham in the beginning of this match.
Yes.
He's being super vocal and acting like a complete doofus. He's dancing around. He's just like completely not taking Taichi seriously at all. It's a completely different character dynamic for Osprey.
Yeah.
And this actually telegraphs something that would happen later.
Exactly. Predictable amounts of Taichi cheating.
Yeah. He's sort of like, you know what? If you're gonna mess around with me, I'm not. He gets out. He's using the hammer that they ring the bell with. He's choking him.
He keeps bringing that thing out.
Yeah.
He just tucks it behind his. Just tucks it in his tights.
He chokes him out with a camera cord. He's just completely back to his old shenanigans. It's almost like, if he's not going to take this seriously, why should I? It's like, because Taichi has, for the most part, this G1 played it relatively straight, but this time he's just like, come on, man, I'm not, if you're going to mess around, like, what, if you're taking the piss, what am I supposed to do? Luckily, there is a switch. Business does pick up. Osprey turns it on. There's a nice sequence with a series of mist splashes where, like, Taichi's rolling around, missing him. And then he connects with one, and then Osprey gets up and does like a weird-ass corkscrew splash sort of thing.
Yeah, that thing was crazy.
Yeah. There's also another cool subversion where Osprey does the flash kick, where he like bounces off of them, and then he goes for the ensaguri. But Taichi hits the ensaguri instead, like he had them scouted. It's almost like, Taichi did take this, he did scout this match, If Osprey will take this seriously, he'll take it just as seriously, which is sort of what happened in the second half of the match. About 10 minutes in, the match like really hits a pace. Taichi's looking for the top rope Black Mephisto. Well, Osprey flips out and goes for a powerbomb fight. Finally, Taichi takes the pants off, and it was another one of those cases where he's sort of like, let's less theatrical. It's more like, all right, let's get this off. Let's do
business
this.
time.
Yeah. By the end of it, Osprey just completely dominates. He does an intercepting Os cutter where like. He's running across the ring. Usually he does like a setup, like, oh, you're standing there, and jump and go back. But this is like sort of like, it reminded me of like Lance Archer's like tackle, where he's like in mid motion, like he hits the hidden blade and the Stormbreaker, and Osprey wins. Well, I thought this was until the second Taichi match we watched. I said this is probably one of the best Taichi matches I've ever seen. But the next match, Ibushi versus Suzuki. I mean, even just on paper, this match is just salivating.
Yes.
I could tell from the beginning this was going to be a different kind of match because they're doing spacing.
Yeah, it's like a chess game.
Yeah.
And they're doing like a lot of like legit MMA stuff. Leg shoots, heel hooks, arm bars. It's like a shoot for a couple minutes.
And I actually want to give Rocky some props. I thought when I was watching this they're doing shoot style grappling, I was like, Rocky's good at calling this. Because he's like he's saying, oh, here's what he's setting up for. Here's why he's doing this. He's gonna angle for this and that or whatever. It's
he can explain the transitions, not just the moves that are at the end of them or that they anchor.
Yeah, I was like,
he's good. I've really come to like him a lot on commentary.
Yeah,
during this G1.
That in particular stood out to me though. Yeah. I was like, I really appreciate because. Sometimes in matches you don't quite know what's like when submission matches are going really quickly. You can't quite figure out what's going on. It seems like a lot of
like some of those Zack Sabre Jr. transitions and stuff. It's like, how are you gonna call it?
Yeah,
50 things in 6 seconds. But
exactly. So it's much appreciated. This match sort of ramps up when they're both in an Achilles lock, and they just start kicking each other.
Is that when they're trading the kicks? Yeah. They're like tied up. It's so funny, man.
They're just they're just laying into each other, and then eventually they break out of it, and Suzuki walks outside. He goes up the ramp. He sits down. And he
turns around. Come on. Yeah. Sits down. Stands up. Walks further back on the ramp.
Yeah.
Come on.
At that point, this being a wrestling match kind of got thrown out. This kind of just became a fight. Because Ibushi does meet him out there.
Yeah.
The first indication I got was like, oh, this is just going to be a fight. Suzuki just hits a straight right. No forearms, he just...
Boom.
Jeez, like, clocked him. Like,
boom.
Another great sequence is Suzuki just gets kicked by Ibushi over and over and over again. And it really reminded me of a moment in... probably one of my favorite Suzuki matches, the Moxley match, where he's just bracing himself and standing, and he won't let himself go down.
Right.
And even when he gets down on his knees, he won't fall back. Eventually, he does, but I love the perseverance of Suzuki. Towards the end of the match, the finishing sequence becomes the Kamigoye, of course. Ibushi fighting for the Kamigoye. Suzuki catches the Kamigoye and turns it into a single leg crab, which then transitions into a Boston. A full Boston.
Real low.
Yeah, real low.
Oh my goodness. He's got the deepest squat I've ever seen someone do at the Boston Crab.
Eventually, Ibushi fights out of it, hits a standing knee right into him, and then hits the Kamigoye, and that's it.
Yeah.
It was actually ended up being a lot quicker than I would have assumed. It ended up just being about 17 minutes.
Yeah. But it could have. If you told me at the end of it was 25 minutes, I would have been like, oh yeah, sure.
Just like the Ibushi Osprey match, they packed a lot in to what ended up being a relatively short amount of time for something so high up on the card.
Right. If I were to only go back to one match from the G1 that I saw, this would be the one.
And probably the one before that would have been Ishii Suzuki.
Yeah,
Suzuki's just had an amazing G1.
It's my dude right now.
Yeah, I'm very glad. This guy. I'm very glad he came back this G1. He was sorely missed. I mean, last G1 was great regardless of him being in there, but it's nice that he's here. Main event, Okada versus Shingo. This is definitely one of those dream matches. The commentary made note of something that added a little bit of understanding to the Okada story, which is they're framing it as a challenge for himself. He's too good, so he has to handicap himself.
So let me start over with a brand new move, and I'll make it amazing eventually.
Yeah, it's sort of like a self-imposed challenge. Yeah. Less ego-driven and more driven by a sense of accomplishment and pride in wanting to continually iterate on your craft. Part of the story is ego for sure, but he's made it compelling. I'm no longer bored out of my mind seeing the money clip. He has gotten it over to some extent.
Yeah.
A lot of the beginning of this match was your standard Okada main event style, which I don't think we've really gotten this whole time. Not to this extent. He's one of the great match starters, and ironically, he's in the match with Shingo, who's also one of the great match pacing kind of guys. Where all of their opening matches go through this routine, but it's the best wrestling match opening routine ever.
Right.
Yeah. So two guys with the best match build-ups, building up nicely. 10 minutes in, nothing amazing has happened. It's just great wrestling. But then the tide turns when Shingo hits a pop-up DVD, and then Okada gets his first dropkick off of the top rope, which he started to do a lot more frequently now. It's something he's always done, but him going for it is a lot more frequent now. That was about 15 minutes in, and then it's just all guns blazing.
Right around the halfway mark, it's nonstop from there on.
Yeah. He started to do the draping DDT off the apron as opposed to off the barricade.
Right,
and it's so nasty.
Yeah.
It just looks like it kills Shingo. Another great element of this is, since you don't know when he's going to do the turn and be like, okay, I'm embracing the Rainmaker again, he goes after the neck the majority of the match, but you don't know what it's setting up for, because both of his finishers have the same setups. They both go after the neck, which I think that adds another compelling element to the match structure. And the fact that they build the classic match structure in there increases anxiety, because you want to see the classic Okada, and he's doing the classic Okada, but you don't know if he's going to follow through with it. There was also a horrible tombstone. I think it was done correctly, But it sure looked like Shingo broke his neck, and he didn't. And this is the second time that Shingo's been in the match. It happened in an Osprey match, I want to say last year, where it just looks like his neck got completely broken. Like, it was nasty. This was teased in the Taichi match, but it was came to fruition here. Shingo hits a Rainmaker. And not only does he hit the Rainmaker, but he does the pose, which you've not seen Okada do this entire G1. So that was a, I guess Los Ingobernables de Japón are like supposed to be heels, but they're more like heel leading tweeners. Right. So that was a full heel move though, and it was like, oh, that's cocky. That's great. Especially because Shingo's
move.
Yeah, Shingo's so no nonsense usually. You don't like expect something out of him like that sort of attitude. This crowd went nuclear at that towards the end when because at this point Shingo's a winnable match with Okada. Like he could win this, and it seems like Okada's gonna lose without that Rainmaker. In fact, he even hits the spinning Rainmaker, but he still doesn't go for the final Rainmaker. He goes back to the money clip. Shingo's in it for I want to say like 3 minutes, like a long time. Like and he eventually chokes Shingo out, but it was probably a more compelling end sequence than even the Taichi one. Mm-hmm. Like it was hard fought. A fantastic main event here.
Yeah, amazing.
So we move on to day 17. This was on October 16th. This is emanating out of Ryugoku.
The final A Block day, right?
This is the final A Block day. The winner of the A Block emerges out of this night. Yeah. Chris Charlton is back.
Oh right, yes.
I love Chris Charlton. Some people don't love it. Some people think he doesn't necessarily have like a voice for radio.
Voice. I get it, but I like it. It fits. I think it.
He's got great knowledge. He had some really funny comments tonight, and I just think he's a really valuable contribution. I was glad to see him back in the booth. Not in the actual booth. I could tell from the audio.
It was obvious. His audio was a little tinny.
Yeah, which presumably Kevin Kelly's in America and he's in Britain. Right. I would assume. I assume he lives there. So
it would have been nice if it was a little bit better matched up to sound like they were even anywhere near each other. Yeah, but it's fine. It wasn't that bad.
You can take what you get at this point. I guess.
Of course. Under
these,
good to have him there.
Yeah, under these conditions, it's probably the best they could do. And I was just glad to have a 3-man booth again.
Right.
So we start off with Yujiro versus Jeff Cobb. Yujiro is winless
at this point. Yes,
he has not won a single time, and they sort of played that story here. Yeah, made the crowd care about his win, which it was a fine match. It was a pretty solid match.
I think you might have liked it a little more than I did. I thought it was kind of meh, but I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand the storytelling.
Well, so the problem is, still Yujiro still has a slow pace.
Yeah.
This is the one match where he finally uses the stick on his opponent.
Yeah, because Shingo lariated it, so he didn't quite get to use it there.
Yeah,
was it Shingo that did that?
Yeah.
So he actually connected this time. Yeah, so this was my problem with the cheat. The cheat seemed weird to me because prior to that, basically, Yujiro had been controlling the match. So I didn't understand why he needed to cheat. So, and I didn't understand prior to the cheat. I was like, what's the story of, why is he doing so well against Jeff Cobb, this gigantic guy that it seems like he should roll over him? I don't know.
I think that's a valid point.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine to give him the win. It's whatever. It's pro wrestling, But I didn't understand the psychology of the match, I guess.
Yeah, it would have been better.
I was a little mad on it.
Yeah, it would have been better to just move one of the heat segments over. I don't know. I mean, it's New Japan. I don't know how much they actually produce the matches.
Yeah, and that might be more of an expectation than of my own.
But you would think
it's a little quibble. It's not that big of a deal. I wouldn't have cared if it was an amazing match, obviously. So.
Yeah. It was fine. Yujiro wins.
Wasn't bad or anything.
That's cool, I guess.
Yeah, good for him.
Next we have Shingo versus Suzuki. Again, neither of these guys can win at this point. The story of this match was less about the G1 and more about Shingo getting his win back so he can challenge for that belt again. Because at the previous Stadium show before the G1, Shingo lost his never open weight belt to Suzuki. This is typical of what happens in G1 matches, and he did end up getting his win back here. Yes. I felt like this was a good match. I liked this match, but it was only 12 minutes. It felt like they were saving themselves for the title match. They weren't going all out here. There was a story of Suzuki going after the pumping bomber arm that Shingo uses. He sells it well, especially after he does lariats. I thought that was well done. And there's one point where he does the lariat and it hurts his own arm.
Yeah.
So instead he goes for a back elbow.
Right.
Like to compensate and change up his offense. I thought that was good. I thought it added a lot. And of course, they added stakes to this match. Like this match, even though neither of these guys could win, the title shot on the line.
Right.
Added, some stakes to this match, which I think was cool. The other thing the commentary brought up which was cool, was that Suzuki is in this G1 mainly because he's a champ. Like if you're bringing gold into this G1, you're more valuable as an entrant in the G1. So he has to not only fight for Shingo not challenging him for the belt, but he has to fight to get enough points. They both are at 6 at this point.
Yeah.
If he gets 8 points, he does well enough that they might want him back for the next G1. But if he doesn't, and he loses that belt, like, do they need him for
and
the
that
G1?
was kind of the secondary commentary story, and the commentary was like, Suzuki's G1 future. Yeah.
So Shingo switches up his offense to more headbutt based, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Because most of the striking battles he was doing with Suzuki, because of his damaged hand, he was losing those.
Right.
But eventually he gets it back with a right hand. Hits the last of a dragon. Yeah. I don't even think he went for the Made in Japan, the modified Last of the Dragon that he hits mid match. I don't think he went for it. So Shingo wins. He's gonna get his title shot. I feel like this wasn't like the best match they could have ever had. I think the title match from the previous show was better, but if you're gonna save it for Wrestle Kingdom, save it for Wrestle Kingdom. I have no issue with that.
It's a storytelling match. It's fine.
So the last 3 matches were the most consequential for the outcome of the G1.
Yeah.
So Osprey versus Okada, this was the match that I had tapped as maybe one of the most important matches of the entire G1. I think it still was.
It still was. I'm sure it wasn't in the way you were thinking.
Not in the way I was thinking. So as a complete flip side to the Osprey we had in the Taichi match, he just immediately hits a shotgun dropkick right away. And doesn't even do his taunting. He just goes right for a plancha. No, none of the pace. None of the taunting things. Just right into it.
And Okada responded to the pace.
Yeah. He didn't. He switched it up. He was
didn't
like, all right.
swallow him up or anything. He just adapted.
Yeah. No main event Okada build here. He's just right into it at this point. Okada can be fast, especially towards the end, but this early in this fast was surprising to me.
Right.
Like this match was. There's so much back and forth in this match. Yeah. There's also, I thought there was a visual parallel too, because there was a moment where Osprey hits the top rope drop kick just like Okada does, and it actually lost them for a second. I was like, wait, who did he just do it or did Okada do it? Because they both have the blonde hair. It's like, there's that. There's the parallels that the commentary was drawing between Osprey and Omega in terms of their place as top gaijin now.
Sure. Yeah.
And then there was, of course, Okada was the guy who brought Osprey to the company to begin with. So this played into the finish for sure.
Oh man.
But yeah, I like the parallels they were drawing. It gave the match even more of an added sort of stakes than the previous Osprey G1 match against Okada last year, which was still compelling but way less winnable for Osprey.
Gotcha.
It was more like, oh, he's the junior guy. I wanted to do good against.
Right.
But I wasn't that surprised when he lost.
Yeah.
Honestly, most of this match was just too hard to call.
It's
just
true.
Too much stuff.
It's true. But that's okay. There's plenty to talk about in the finish.
Yeah. Well, as we're getting to the finish, I had a thought that was like, shouldn't this be the main event? Should this have been the main event? And then B. Priestley shows up.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
There hasn't been anything like this kind of. There's been Gato and there's been but there hasn't been anybody. There haven't been any run-outs or anything like that. No. This is a very sports entertainment-y segment. Yeah.
So B. Priestley
in a great way.
Eventually, at first I was like, oh, she's just here to support him.
Yeah, she's cheering on it first.
But maybe I should have known something was up when they hadn't called attention to her beforehand, like her being in the crowd.
Right.
So then she gets up on the apron.
Like she's here to cheer him on.
Right. Yeah. Then she gets up on the apron, and then somebody runs in. I didn't notice who it was at first.
Right. She's distracting the ref.
Yeah, and this big guy comes in. He grabs Okada by the head, and it's not like a choke slam.
It's not a choke slam,
but it's a
slam
kind of
off. Yeah.
By
like a forehand slam.
Yeah, gripping him in his head.
Yeah. Same move.
Yeah. And it's the Great O'Karn, who was a young lion years ago and has been working, and actually it kind of makes sense that he's linked with Osprey because he got sent to Rev Pro.
Oh, okay.
That was his excursion, was at Rev Pro.
Okay.
So I guess he's back. I'm not like super invested in him as like a character, but we'll see what happens because it seems like this is a faction now. Because then Osprey acts all surprised.
Yeah. Ooh.
And then
what happens?
Gets the Stormbreaker and then wins.
I guess I'll capitalize.
Yeah, which
that's bullshit.
Yeah, because what happens immediately after that is he hits him with a hidden blade.
Oh yeah.
And he starts yelling in his face, saying you're holding me back.
Yeah, you were holding me back.
Yeah. So
screaming at him.
Osprey's pretty unambiguously heel now, I guess.
Oh, I mean, he straight up, fuck you!
Yeah.
I mean, it was very unambiguous heel turn.
So that's why that's why this wasn't the main event.
Yeah, that's why it wasn't the main event, exactly.
I will admit that the ending took the wind out of the sails a bit. I mean, I'm glad that story is being told, but the excitement that I was going to get for an Osprey beating Okada finish was a little bit diminished, given how sort of screwy it was.
Right.
So, yes,
that's fair.
Yes, he won, but it wasn't clean at all.
Right.
But it makes sense given what they're doing with Osprey. I don't know if this is what I want them to be doing with Osprey, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It seems
so the opposite of what it seemed like they were doing, but hey, whatever. See how it plays out.
Yeah, he definitely has a new attitude. I'm interested to see if he's better at character work now. So I'm at least willing to see what happens.
Yeah.
The narrative is that Osprey has like a 5% chance to win at this point.
Right.
Basically, what would need to happen is in this next match, Ibushi would have to lose because
Jey would have had to have lost.
Yeah, Jey would have had to lose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jey would have had to lose, and Ibushi would have had to lose because Osprey's at 12. They were all at 12.
Yeah.
So that would be the tiebreaker, basically.
Right.
So it's Ibushi versus Taichi. I was literally looking forward to this because of the tag matches that they had. Ibushi teaming up with Tanahashi against Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. Whenever it was Ibushi and Taichi in the ring at the same time, there was a lot of interesting dynamics going on. And they pretty much picked one dynamic and played it out the entire match.
Never seen anything like this.
So this was a kickoff. This was just two guys who are known for good kicks.
Yeah.
Just kicking. Over and over and over again.
17 minutes and 12 seconds.
Yeah.
And the whole match was kicking.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Yeah. At first I was like seeing what they're doing and I was like, okay, are they going to hit 5 minutes?
Well, they get to 5 minutes.
They get to 5 minutes with just kicks. And then they do that. They're not only just doing like kicks like a slap off, but then they start laying it down.
Yeah.
And they're like, kick me in the back. And they start trading kicks to the back.
Yeah.
It went 10 minutes. And there had not been a single move other than... There was one attempted move.
Right.
At one point, Taichi goes for a back suplex, but Ishii flips out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we're not changing it. We're going to keep doing this.
That was it, right?
Yeah. That was the only move besides...
Yeah.
That was not...
teasing you. Okay, now it's just going to be a no.
Yeah.
We're kicking.
Yeah. So then they immediately go back to kicks. They pretty much did everything you could do with kicks.
Yeah, man. If you hit the rope and do a big boot.
Yeah.
I mean, it just
There's ensiguris. Yeah. There was one point that I loved where Ibushi goes for the Kamigoye and Taichi just like sweep kicks him, like sweep low kicks him right out of it. And I was like, man.
Just take his... Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. So we go we go past the 15-minute mark. Yeah. We're creeping into the 20-minute mark, and it's all been kicks. Eventually, Ibushi gets the Kamigoye off and wins, but it was just I've never seen anything like this.
I just went, wow. Because if you told me, all right, these guys are going to go 17 minutes and 12 seconds, and they're just going to kick each other the whole time, I go, oh, fuck you, I'm going to watch something else. And it was so good.
Yeah, it was such a cool concept. One of the coolest matches I've ever seen.
And then you just, at the end, when there's just a couple, we didn't know there was a couple minutes left, but at past the 15 minutes, just please don't. Because it looked like one of them might... There was one sequence that looked like one of them might just throw an elbow or something. Yeah. But they never did. And it was great.
Post-match, Taichi gets backpack carried out because he can't walk anymore. And then Ibushi's limping.
Yeah.
The whole, right out of the ring. So it was that's what that's what happens when
it carried into the... Yeah, well,
it does. It does end up carrying into the next match. Yeah. So, Ibushi has 14. Osprey is mathematically eliminated. He can't win the G1 anymore. And now we get to the main event where Jay White has the tiebreaker over Ibushi. And if Jay White beats Ishii, He ties Ibushi at 14, and because of the tiebreaker, Jay White would be the blockade winner.
Yes.
So Ishii would have to win this match, and it added so much drama to this main event. Because Ishii can't win, so he's basically like the hero for everyone.
Right.
He has to save the day. Jay White is beginning this match. He's coming into it. He's cocky, obviously, because he has one roadblock ahead of him. You know, if he has Ishii.
Wrong guy for the cocky shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody who does that pays for it. Everybody who comes into an Ishii match all cocky and all they eat their words.
Oh yeah.
I had predicted Jay for the final, but watching this match, I found myself cheering for Ishii.
Yeah,
it's like I want to be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best kind of babyface making.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for one match, but
yeah. So Jay's just handling Ishii early. Yeah. There's one moment where he's patting Ishii's head, the tempo of the crowd just bump. Ishii's just not taking it at all.
No, he gets mad.
Yeah. The bulk of this match was Jay White getting that knee, getting the damaged knee, the taped up knee of Ishii to go for the Tanahashi tap out. Sort of inverted figure four that he does.
Right.
Ishii's just getting so pissed at this. But every time Jay White gets that knee, it's like Ishii's Achilles. It just immediately takes him out. Ishii's usually able to catch Jay in a power move sequence, but the instant he cuts his knee down, it's Jay gets the offense back again.
Yeah, he's adaptable, but he can't overcome that handicap.
I wrote that Jay has to wrestle Ishii like a Dark Souls boss.
Oh my god.
He has to
true.
He has to sort of like chip away at him and keep his distance, because the instant he gets into too much of a conflict with him, Ishii's going to go for a power move and it's going to be devastating.
Is seconds away.
Yeah. There was one moment where Ishii made a pretty bad mistake, in kayfabe, obviously. We went for the Insaguri, which he usually does late in the game, but he was using his hurt knee, the leg with his hurt knee, so Jay gets it and inverted dragon screws it, and it's like Jay will punish him for mistakes like that.
Yeah, sure, man. He has to. He's like a snake.
Yeah.
He's just got to strike.
There's another great moment where Jay's trying to land the sleeper suplex on Ishii.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he can't lift him.
Yeah.
So he goes down and chop blocks Ishii's knee and then pops back up.
Boom.
Because Jay White is a fantastic pro wrestler.
I know, man. You just got to keep saying that over and over. He is so good.
The way Ishii turns the tables and gets the heat back towards the end is he counters the Blade Runner into a dragon screw and then gets him up for an absolutely petrifyingly scary knee breaker onto his own hurt knee. So it takes him out, but man, did it completely wind Jay White. Another thing that I did not expect at all, because Ishii just never does limb work, is Ishii starts going after Jay White's knee. It's like, by this point, we're like 20 minutes in. There's not a whole lot left in the match.
Yeah.
But Ishii is able to get just as much limb targeting off that Jay White was able to do across the whole match in 5 minutes because he's so quick. Started getting a little worried around the 20-minute mark because there's a ref bump.
Oh, yes.
But Ishii fights off Gedo.
Yeah.
He actually gets Red Shoe's attention afterwards because he's a smart babyface.
Right.
He's like after, I'm not going to do my moves if the ref's still out. He's like, come on.
Wake up.
Yeah.
We got stuff to do.
Yeah. Jay hits a low blow.
Yeah.
Starts to turn a little bit. I get a little worried again. And then Ishii rams Jay White right under the chin.
Yeah.
Just with a nasty headbutt. And then there's a crazy reversal sequence that leads to Ishii turning his brainbuster position into like a cutter. At first I thought Jay White reversed it. But then I see, no, Ishii's leaping up. Like he's doing a cutter.
Yeah.
I've never seen Ishii do a cutter. By that point, Ishii just dominates. Just beats the hell out of Jay White, hits the brainbuster, and wins. Yep. Ishii saves the day.
Beautiful.
Ibushi goes to the finals.
Ibushi is your A-block winner.
Yeah.
They went 24 minutes, 35 seconds.
Yeah, this was a very compelling final night of storytelling in terms of how we get the winner.
I like the reverse tension of like you're waiting to see if somebody loses for someone else to become the winner.
Yeah.
Rather than, Jay wins and he's the winner.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's why they never reveal the match
order
for the final night.
Yeah.
Because it's so dependent on where everyone's at.
Yeah, for all the for all the other matches they have them listed in the correct order, except for I'm assuming it was the same for the final B block day as well.
So Ibushi moves on to the finals. Meanwhile, on Block B, Sonata moves on to the finals.
Sonata is the B block winner. And so the G1 Climax 30 final is Ibushi versus Sonata.
Yeah. Which, I accurately predicted half of it. I did predict that Sonata was going to make it to the finals.
Yeah.
So I got half of
and
that.
And you were close on the other one.
I was very close on Jay White, yeah. The G1 final was a pretty good match.
Yeah. There were so many other great matches that were better in the prior, but
it's not
in the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and there have been better G1 finals.
Yeah.
I think this was the longest G1 final. It went 35 minutes and 12 seconds.
Yeah, because the prior was
I think 35 minutes dead
exactly 35 minutes. Yeah, so it went 12 seconds longer to become the longest ever G1 final.
Yeah. The story of the match: Ibushi's coming in injured.
Yeah, they still I'm assuming they're selling it from the leg kick match.
Yeah.
Because his thigh is completely wrapped.
Yeah. I like Taichi, but it's really funny that Taichi had such a consequential impact on the G1 final.
Yeah, that is funny.
It's sort of a standard main event, your long New Japan main event where like the first couple minutes are just the feeling out process.
Yeah.
Getting your typical offense in. But there was a miscue, I believe. I think it was really weird. I think it was a miscue. Sonata goes for they're doing like the drop down sequence, like at the ends of the ropes.
That's what you're talking about,
Sonata goes for a drop kick.
Yeah,
Ibushi slides under, but Sonata catches him in the neck.
Yeah. Kind of looked like he missed, but he didn't. Like, I don't know.
I couldn't tell if Ibushi did the wrong thing under it.
Yeah, I think it might have been just a minor little screw up. I think you're right. There wasn't. I mean, it's the closest thing to a. They're such great technicians. You almost never see anything remotely like a botch. But it does seem like a missed spot.
Yeah, and the issue there was that the crowd, I think, noticed that, and for a little bit, Ibushi was a little rocked for like a minute or two, and the crowd got kind of taken out of it.
Yeah.
They really also telling the story that Sonata has the edge here, because there was a moment where Ibushi misses a Phoenix Splash really hard, hits that knee. Sonata takes advantage immediately with a moonsault attempt. He didn't hit the moonsault, but the fact that he was so quick and he's ready for that finish was like, it was getting intense there. The pace was picking up. There was a moment where I thought, it's an Ibushi main event. When are they going to try and kill each other?
That's hilarious. It's so true.
And it happened because towards the midpoint, Sonata hits a magic killer off the apron.
Oh, right, yeah.
Out to the outside, and I was like, okay, now they're trying to kill each other. Ibushi was really fighting from under for the majority of this match. And that really made the finish compelling. Another thing that was happening was, and I don't think Ibushi ever really found a counter for this, whenever Sonata needed to get the edge back, basement drop kick to the leg.
Oh, yeah. That thing is nasty,
Yeah, he's so quick with it.
Wow. Yeah, it's real punchy.
Yeah, it was like every time he needed to get the heat back, that would stun Ibushi enough to get it back. The finishing stretch was so heated.
Yeah.
Ibushi hits the Bomaye. Sonata reverses the Kamagoye into a pop-up TKO, the neck breaker that he does. He hits the first moonsault, and I was like, oh, maybe he'll take it.
Yeah.
Knees up on the second moonsault. Yep. Ibushi counters the second moonsault. And then Sonata goes for this insane pinning sequence over and over and over again. He does the one that he does in the Zack Sabre Jr. matches where he leans back like that. Bridges out.
The bridge. Yeah.
The crowd went absolutely nuts. They literally counted the pin.
Yeah, they counted it, and that this is the big restriction. But it's as we talked about before. Sometimes you just can't help it. Yeah. They were hot.
And how close? Because I love New Japan refs. Marty Asami does this thing where sometimes he'll know that the third count is not coming and he'll stop.
Yeah.
Red Shoes got so close in some of these. There were 2 times where I was like, did he hit the mat?
2.999999999.
And that's the real reminder of why Red Shoes is so good. Because he can get that drama.
And that's when they popped.
Yeah.
Was that almost 3 count. Great finishing.
Yeah. Ibushi hits the V trigger
into
the Kamagoye. And Sonata kicks out of the Kamagoye.
Yeah.
This is a typical, they do this sometimes. Because he immediately hits the second Kamagoye and wins.
Yeah.
But that was like, wow, okay, they're making him a big deal. I thought that made him a bigger deal. That moment, that last 5 minutes, made him a bigger deal than almost anything else that he's done in New Japan, I thought.
Sonata?
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Like, I honestly, when I found out I was kind of like, oh, that's the guy that won? Like, but this was probably my favorite Sonata performance.
Yeah.
The best I think he looked in the whole tournament.
I didn't buy that he would win
No.
Just based off the fact that, yes, I get that he already beat Naito,
sure,
but I still think that running a match that you just saw in the G1 is not the best idea. So I didn't really believe he would win, but I thought it was still told for a compelling story that he would go after it like that and that he would land in this spot. But I have no issues with Ibushi winning.
Right.
Second time he's won. He's two in a row, which I think only 2 other people have done.
Yeah, that's the third time.
And then the first time anybody has ever been in 3 G1 finals in a row. Yeah. Right. Because he obviously won the last G1 against Jay White, and he lost the year before to Tanahashi. So he's been in 3 G1 finals consecutively now. I actually thought he looked more emotional in this one than he did the last one when they bring the trophy out. Masahiro Chono was there, and he shows up and he hands the trophy to him. I have no issues with Ibushi versus Naito.
No. Much prefer that to Sonata versus Naito.
Yeah, Ibushi versus Naito. Some people got tired of it when it happened a couple years ago, and they kept running it, and each match would be nastier and nastier and more vicious, and almost kill each other over and over again. They held off.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this match again.
Yeah. It's going to be hot.
Yeah, I'm very ready for this match again. I think they are maybe my favorite matchup in the entire New Japan roster.
Those 2 guys?
Yeah.
That's fair.
So I'm all here for that. Wrestle Kingdom, main event.
Yeah.
Ibushi versus Naito.
3 months. 2 months away. 3 months away.
He lost against Okada last year in Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
I think probably he'll take it here.
Yeah.
Which I wanted a long Naito reign. This company seems hard determined to never let that happen.
Yeah.
But that's okay. He got his big moment. I'll be fine if they give it to Ibushi. Ibushi is basically the same age, but probably physically in better shape than Naito. So they can run with him longer.
Naito seems like he's 10 years older.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, Naito's knees are probably about as bad as Tanahashi. Almost as bad as Tanahashi's knees. Sure.
He's got the bent knee, Shawn Michaels bent knee thing.
But the next actual event,
Wrestle
Kingdom's not until January.
It's a few months away.
They have to have another big show. So Power Struggle.
Right.
This is November 7th. And I'll just run through the match card real quick.
Let's do it.
The first match is a King of Pro Wrestling 2020 challenge.
Okay.
So Toriano versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh boy. Okay.
It'll probably just, that'll just be a silly match, I'm sure. I don't really have an issue with that. Second match, Minoru Suzuki's first defense, apparently. Which, because he immediately went into the G1.
Right.
So they're doing this match already. It's Shingo versus challenging Suzuki for the belt. So they're doing that already. So that's for the never openweight title. I kind of wanted them to save that for Wrestle Kingdom. I thought maybe they should run Suzuki versus Taichi here. So he could get his win back. Because Taichi was another one of those guys who beat Suzuki during the G1 that is a viable never openweight contender. He's one of those guys who, of course, will go for the openweight.
Yeah.
So... But that's fine. It'll be a great match, I'm sure. It might even be the best match on the card.
Yeah.
The third match is a special singles match: Okada versus the Great Okarn. We'll see how Okarn is, I guess.
Yeah.
Because he's seemingly joined Osprey's faction. I would imagine he would win here. That's a pretty big person to win against for your first singles match back from Excursion is Okada. He better be good.
Wow, yeah. He better be real good.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Fourth match. This is Kenta defending his right to challenge Moxley for the U.S. Heavyweight title. It's going to be Kenta versus Tanahashi.
Okay.
Totally down for seeing this match again.
Yeah.
I thought they had a great G1 match.
Yeah.
So I'm super down for this. Fifth match, we have Ibushi versus Jay White. Ibushi is defending his right to challenge Naito at Wrestle Kingdom. So Jay White beat Ibushi in the G1, so he's someone who can challenge him for it. This is also a match that happened at Wrestle Kingdom and was one of the match openers in G1. They have great chemistry. This will probably be good too.
Right.
I would assume Ibushi's going to win this, but nothing wrong with Ibushi getting some more good matches.
Sure.
And then the main event is Naito versus Evil. Another Naito Evil match. He's defending both his belts. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. They have good chemistry, I guess. I hope that this is more straightforward and less of shenanigans match.
Right.
But as much as I liked Evil in the G1 for the most part, it's probably just the status quo for Evil right now is Dick Togo's going to come out and choke Naito at some point.
Right.
This is a good card. I probably more excited for other things opposed to the main event. There's matches that I'm more excited for.
Yeah.
I think the match I'm probably most excited for is the Suzuki Shingo match.
Yeah.
Of course, that they're always great.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's a hot card. So.
All right, that's the next NJPW show.
Yeah.
We'll probably do a show on that. We'll probably do a full gear show first.
Yeah.
They're the same night, so we'll wait a couple days and watch the NJPW show, and we'll do that one.
Yeah, but it would be nice to talk about something besides New Japan.
Yes, we're ready to talk about AEW.
As much as I love New Japan, G1 is.
This is like
endurance.
Yeah, this is like this is like the reading James Joyce's Ulysses of watching professional wrestling.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but it has been very beneficial for me, especially as you can tell. He knows a lot more about NJPW than I do. I've enjoyed learning about the New Japan's current roster a lot. So the G1 has been a lot of fun to watch. We'll probably cover it a little bit less rigorously next time, but yeah, it's been fun. So thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share it, and we'll see you next time.
All right,
Thanks.
see ya.
Bye, guys.